Okay. I ran out of room, so we're going to have to do this again. Okay. Part 2. Beethoven's letters. The preface or preface, however you want to say it. By reading Berlioz's memoirs, one gets a very good idea both of the man and the musician, of his likes and dislikes, of his excitability and at times of his despondency, of his high ideals, of his outspokenness, and his art career generally. Berlioz had a powerful pen and drew a strong picture of himself. Yet there is a literary polish about the whole thing. While writing, Berlioz had the public in mind. Therein lies the difference between his memoirs and the letters of Beethoven. Setting aside the dedication letter to the Prince Elector of Cologne, in which his father no doubt had the larger share, the rest of the correspondence gives a natural picture of the man. Many, nay, probably most, were written in a great hurry. INDEREILE was the composer's usual ending to his letters, and of haste the letters bear many traces. The same words are constantly repeated. The structure of the sentences is frequently very loose, and at times it is, indeed, hard to find out what he meant. For punctuation he cared little. With him the comma did duty for comma, semicolon also full stop. At times, indeed, he hurries on to a fresh sentence without any kind of stop, and does not even trouble to begin a new one with a capital letter. Nouns, which in German always begin with a capital, seldom have it, and on the other hand, words not needing one have one. Again, there is constant confusion with the pronouns SIE, IHR, and IHNEN, which seldom have a capital initial letter when such is required. Another proof of haste will be found in the spelling of proper names. Very few of them are correct. They have been left in the letters as he wrote them. It is a characteristic feature which I felt ought to be represented. It is curious to note that in a letter to Schindler, he says, "But you are a bad speller." And finally, hurry is shown in his handwriting, which often puzzled even Jane or John, Jahn, Schindler, Knoll, and others, who had seen and studied very many of the composer's autograph letters. In informing Neate, or I don't know, NEATE, of the conditions on which he would accept a proposal of the Philharmonic Society, he states that he got someone to write the letter so that it might be easier to read. And in a letter to Streicher, Streicher, he describes how one day at the post office he handed in a letter and was asked by the official whither it was to be sent. And he adds that he himself, like his writing, is often misunderstood. The letters then offer a true reflection of the man. His words only express the state of his feelings at certain times, and in reading the letters, this must ever be borne in mind. The scene with Stephen or Stephan, Stephan, Breuning, Breuning, in parentheses, see letter 53, offers a case in point. The composer was angry, and on Stephen or Stephan he poured the vials of his wrath, but this must be compared with the letter of reconciliation, in parentheses, number 58. Another outburst of anger, for which, however, Beethoven seemed to have just cause, was with Arteria about the quintet, in parentheses, C letter 39. Arteria was a rascal, a favorite word with the composer, of that he had been of the first water, yet, and to his cost, Beethoven afterwards learnt that he had been somewhat hasty in his judgment, and soon after we find him doing business with the rascally firm. There is, however, no doubt that Beethoven loved truth and justice, and that at heart he was one of the kindest of men. To understand his true character, these outbursts, while they show the impressionable nature of the man, must not be taken as normal specimens. Many and many a letter might be adduced in favor of his noble-mindedness, of his contempt for all that was mean and wicked, and his charity was great. He was always ready to benefit suffering humanity. From many of Beethoven's works, one can perceive that he was a man of varied moods, also of sudden changes of mood. In one letter, we find him speaking of a person in the most friendly manner, while in another, no words are too strong to condemn that same person. Such was the case notably with his friend and benefactor, the Archduke Rudolph. So these letters seem to contain a mass of contradictions, but on closer examination, one finds that Beethoven's feelings were at times so strong that he seemed incapable of listening to reason. He felt he had been badly treated, and nothing would for the time being convince him that his view of the matter was wrong. But if his anger was great, his apology afterwards was equally so. In fact, both the one and the other were exaggerated. Okay, I'll stop there so this video isn't long and it cuts me off and then I have to find out where it was. Okay, so thank you for watching.